Most people do not fail because they lack talent. They fail because they hesitate. They hesitate at the moment that matters most. They wait for certainty. They wait for approval. They wait for the perfect time. But the perfect time never arrives. And while they are waiting, someone else decides. There is a hidden cost to hesitation. Every time you delay a decision, you weaken your confidence. Every time you postpone action, you strengthen doubt. And over time, doubt becomes a habit. The majority of people live in a permanent state of indecision. They move cautiously. They overanalyze. They seek endless opinions. And in doing so, they slowly train their minds to distrust their own judgment. Successful people operate differently. They understand that decision is power. Decision creates momentum. Decision eliminates alternatives. When a person truly decides, their energy shifts, their posture changes, their focus sharpens. A real decision closes the door to retreat. It forces commitment. The difference between the wealthy and the average is not intelligence. It is decisiveness. The majority decide slowly and change quickly. The successful decide quickly and change slowly. That single pattern determines the direction of a life. Indecision creates fear. Fear blocks action, and without action, opportunity disappears. But decision interrupts fear. It sends a signal to the mind that movement has begun, and once movement begins, confidence follows. Before wealth is built, before success is visible, there is always a moment of commitment, a moment where hesitation ends and certainty begins. That moment is decision. In the next part, we will break down why indecision silently destroys more dreams than failure ever could. Indecision is not harmless. It is destructive. It slowly conditions the mind to avoid responsibility. When a person refuses to decide, they are unconsciously choosing safety over growth. And safety rarely produces extraordinary results. Every delayed decision creates internal conflict. The mind begins to argue with itself. One voice says move forward. Another says wait. That conflict drains energy. It weakens focus. And when focus weakens, performance declines. Over time, indecision becomes a personality trait rather than a temporary state. Most people believe they need more information before deciding. But information without action produces paralysis. The truth is, clarity often comes after commitment, not before it. Decisive individuals understand that action creates feedback. Feedback creates improvement. Improvement creates progress. Indecision also destroys opportunity. Opportunities rarely remain open indefinitely. They require response. They reward boldness. The person who hesitates too long watches others move ahead. And once that pattern repeats several times, confidence begins to collapse. There is another hidden danger. Indecision strengthens fear. The longer a decision is postponed, the larger it appears. Small risks grow into overwhelming threats simply because they are left unresolved. When fear grows, imagination begins to focus on worst-case outcomes instead of potential rewards. Successful individuals do not eliminate risk. They accept it. They understand that uncertainty is permanent. Waiting for complete certainty is a trap. Movement creates clarity. Decision creates momentum, and momentum reduces doubt. The majority drift because they never develop the habit of firm decision. They seek consensus instead of conviction. They prioritize comfort instead of commitment, and in doing so, they unknowingly limit their potential. In the next part, we will examine the habits and mental patterns of people who decide quickly and why their speed gives them a massive advantage in life and business. Successful people are not fearless. They are decisive despite fear. That is the difference. They feel uncertainty, but they do not allow it to control them. They understand that every major achievement begins with a bold commitment made before the outcome is guaranteed. One of the strongest habits of decisive individuals is clarity of purpose. When a person knows exactly what they want, decisions become easier. Confusion creates hesitation. Clarity creates speed. The majority hesitate because their goals are vague. The decisive move quickly because their aim is definite. Another trait is trust in personal judgment. Decisive people gather information, but they do not become dependent on endless opinions. They listen, evaluate, and then act. They understand that responsibility cannot be outsourced. When a person constantly seeks approval before acting, they weaken their own authority. Decisive individuals also accept imperfection. They do not wait for the perfect plan. They choose a direction and adjust along the way. They understand that progress is built through correction, not hesitation. Every action produces feedback. Every correction improves skill. Waiting produces nothing. There is also a deep psychological advantage in speed. When you decide quickly, you prevent doubt from taking root. Doubt requires time to grow. Quick commitment cuts doubt off before it becomes dominant. This is why successful people appear confident. Their confidence is often the result of decisive action, not the cause of it. Another powerful characteristic is emotional control. Decisive people do not allow temporary emotions to dictate permanent choices. They pause long enough to think clearly, but not long enough to freeze. They separate fear from fact, and once the facts are understood, they move forward. The majority allows small obstacles to interrupt momentum. The decisive interpret obstacles as normal. They expect resistance. They anticipate setbacks. Because resistance is expected, it does not shock them into retreat. Decision creates identity. Every firm decision reinforces self-trust. The more a person acts decisively, the stronger their internal authority becomes. Over time, this creates a cycle of confidence and action. In the final part, we will break down how to train the power of decision daily and transform hesitation into disciplined action. The power of decision is not something you are born with. It is something you train. And like any discipline, it strengthens through repetition. If you want to become decisive, you must begin with small commitments. Decide what time you will wake up and follow through. Decide what task you will complete today and finish it. Each completed decision builds self-trust, and self-trust is the foundation of confidence. Another powerful method is setting a definite purpose. When your goal is clear, many decisions become automatic. If an opportunity aligns with your purpose, you say yes. If it distracts from your purpose, you say no. Clarity removes emotional confusion, and without confusion, hesitation loses power. You must also reduce overexposure to opinions. Too many voices create mental noise. Mental noise creates doubt, and doubt slows action. Seek guidance when necessary, but remember that responsibility belongs to you. The moment you accept full responsibility for your choices, decisiveness begins to grow. Train yourself to act before you feel completely ready. Readiness is often a myth. Growth happens in motion. Every decisive action teaches you something valuable. Even mistakes strengthen judgment, but hesitation teaches nothing. It only reinforces fear. You must also understand that every major shift in your life will require a bold decision, a decision to change direction, a decision to commit fully, a decision to persist when others retreat. These moments define outcomes. When you hesitate, life drifts. When you decide, life responds. The majority never become extraordinary because they remain trapped in analysis. They confuse preparation with progress. But progress begins the moment commitment replaces hesitation. Decision is not just an action, it is a declaration. It is the moment you tell yourself that retreat is no longer an option. And once retreat is removed, focus intensifies, effort increases, momentum builds. The difference between the average and the exceptional is often one courageous decision made without delay. When you learn to decide firmly, quickly, and with conviction, you shift from reacting to life to directing it. That is the power of decision. And once you master it, success no longer feels accidental. It becomes intentional.